Looking back from the other side, I can see now with open eyes. Darkest water and deepest pain, I wouldn't trade it for anything. 'Cause my brokenness brought me to you. And these wounds are a story you'll use. angels they're gonna keep. I'm going there to see my mother, and I'm going there, no more to go. Yeah, I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I'm gonna wear that great crown of glory when I get home to that good land, and I'm gonna shout the salvation story in concert with that blood-washed band. I'm going there to see my Jesus, and I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I'm going home. Yeah, I'm going home.
Good crowd this morning. Thank you everyone for coming today, despite the potential rain and floods we've been promised all weekend that we've got in place in Murfreesboro. So, a few weeks ago, one of my favorite things, one of the things that I love is hearing that there's several psychologists and books that I read and people talking about stuff. And sometimes what I'll hear is a really good thought, a really good, something expressed that they like they just came up with it. We just realized this. In the last few years, we've just realized this. I've been reading about that in the Bible for a long time now. I'm pretty sure we knew about this like 2,000 years ago. But sometimes there's enough of a connection that it is just a really good way to describe something that I've been wrestling with for a long time. So a few weeks ago, there's a book that I've been reading called 12 Rules for Life. That's with Jordan Peterson. He opens with this thought, this idea that living life is made up of dealing with order and chaos. In its most basic form, dealing with order and chaos. And the idea is that order is the things that we know. Order is the things that we're comfortable with. Order is the things that we feel safe with. Order is the things that we understand, that we can operate in. Order is telling a joke to your friends that you know they're going to get and everyone's going to laugh and you're going to feel good. Order is doing the job that you've done for a long time. Order is being around your family and your friends that you know, that they know you, places you're comfortable. Order is being in a home where you feel safe. Chaos, on the other hand, is the opposite of that. Chaos is the unknown. Chaos is the job that you're just starting that you've never done before. Chaos is the school you're just graduating from and you're not really sure what life outside of school looks like. Chaos is the telling a joke to strangers that you don't know and they don't get it at all. That's chaos. And the interaction between that, because rarely is it ever that cut and dry. And one of the things that he said that really just resonated with me was he said, we're to live in the order, but always pursue the chaos. Well, chaos sounds bad. I don't know anything to do with that. I just stay in the order. Order sounds great. I like that stuff. I like telling jokes that people get. That's what I like. I don't need to test that. But the problem is, if we only ever remain in order, order tends to get very stale and boring, and we don't change, we don't need to. Or we're only where things are safe. We're only where nothing is challenging us, or where nothing is causing us to improve, where nothing is stressing us. We're just existing. Whereas living in all chaos, on the other hand, never allows you a place to retreat to. Never allows you to take what is overwhelming, but be able to step back and process it. Living in chaos alone is the kid that gets bullied at school and comes home to parents that don't make it their care. Or even home is missing. Chaos is starting a new job where they're supposed to teach you what's going on and nobody's telling you what you're supposed to be doing. Chaos is going into a room with a group of people that you think you're going to relate to and you do not relate to anybody in there. Living in that is a problem. But never approaching that is also a problem. And so as I'm hearing this and things are connecting in my mind, things are going off, and this idea that we are to start from a home base of order. So for example, perfect example happened this morning. So every weekend, the dog wakes me up way earlier than I would like to. But it's okay when it's really hot because that's also the only time that we can go for any significant walk because in an hour it's going to be 95 degrees outside and nobody wants to be out there. So he woke me up about 6 o'clock this morning, 6:15 this morning, and we go walk in the park. And Barker Park in Nashville, where we live, has this great paved trail that's about a mile long. It ends at this pretty overlook. We're at the Stones River. We can walk down that trail and back, and bikes aren't allowed on it, so you don't have to keep track of them because they sneak up behind you. They're going really fast. Sometimes I don't know about it. So we love this trail. Me and Briscoe have been on this trail dozens of times. And this trail is very safe to us. It's a well-traveled trail. There's not a lot going on. Yes, there is the possibility that a tree could fall, or yes, there's the possibility that there's that thing that starts with S and ends with H that I'm not allowed to talk about around here. Yes, there's a possibility that those are out. Yes, there is the possibility for danger and chaos there. But in the dozens of times that y'all just get what the S H thing is, good, congratulations.
Oh, you said ache.
Ache.
I thought you said it ends in A, and I was like,
This is really cute.
nobody's going to hear anything else you say until we know what that word is.
Jessica got it. She was shivering over there about those words. There is the possibility for danger there, but in the dozens of times that we've been on this trail, we've been fine. It's become a place of order amongst the chaos for us. This morning, we're sitting there alongside the river, just kind of hanging out, so they go halfway points, and we're sitting for a little bit. And all of a sudden, we hear a big crash into the water. And for whatever reason, my mind goes, is there crocodiles here? Never have I seen a crocodile, but I'm thinking, this is a large thing, it sounds like it jumped into the water, there isn't anything, and I'll be honest with you, the fight or flight doesn't apply to me that well because the list of dangerous things that John can outrun is a very small list. And so I'm just looking around trying to figure out how to Brisket's freaked out, he doesn't know what's going on. And the best we can tell, either a tree or a limb had fallen and landed in the water, or a tree that had already fallen had slid and crashed into the water. But it was very loud. We're the only ones down there, and it freaked us out a little bit. A place that had become a place of order for us, all of a sudden became a place of chaos for us, because of maybe crocodiles. That is life, right? Sometimes the worst order that we think we have under control is when you lose your job and you weren't expecting it. It's when someone that you trusted is unfaithful. The order that you think you contain, this is my safe place, all of a sudden has some holes punched in. And so what do we do when that happens? We don't go crying. Sometimes we do. This morning I did. What do we do when the places that seem to be in order all of a sudden have chaos amongst them? The past few weeks in youth group, we've been kind of looking at this, expanding this, and we drew a circle on the board. It's okay, this is the stuff that you have under order, and everything around it is what's chaos. You're kind of slowly trying to chip away and expanding your circle of order and hoping that all of a sudden you don't end up with some chunks of chaos in the middle. Right? That's the basics of what we do in this life. We're trying to expand the things that we have under some sense of control, that we're comfortable with. And we do that by approaching the things that we're not comfortable with. Right? And every so often, sometimes something comes in the middle, something that we thought we had under control, something that we thought was in order in our life, all of a sudden isn't anymore. I've experienced, I have friends that have experienced lately places of work that we thought were very comfortable for us, that all of a sudden there's been times where it's like, maybe not as comfortable as I thought. Maybe there's something else going on. So what do we do when that happens? And as I'm hearing this whole order chaos thing going, there's a few things that are flashing in my mind. Because one of my favorite verses in the entire Bible is James 1. Count it all joy when you face trials. That's what this sounds like to me. Count it all joy when you face trials, except for the idea goes further. It doesn't just say when trials happen to you. But the idea is that trials are all around you, and sometimes you have to go to them. Sometimes if you want to learn how to do the thing, you have to go approach the thing, right? If I can watch all the YouTube videos on laying tile that I want. If I never do it, Jim's not going to think I'm an expert at it, right? But Jim, I watched 72 YouTube videos this weekend. I think I know what I'm talking about.
You're hired.
Jim's met those guys. Exactly. You have to approach the thing that you don't understand for it to even have the possibility to come into your understanding, right? Because I've also met people working on cars, but I've learned everything I know about my car. I know how to put a transmission in it. Why? There's nothing wrong with the transmission. But I want to know in case it happens. He said that over my head. You want to know about it, but then when it comes to actually doing it, man, I hate touching cars. I don't want anything to do with it. I've met mechanics that are convinced coming into the field, this is what I'm for. I've been watching this. I know a lot about cars. I love cars. There are a great many people that love cars, but don't love working on cars. When you approach the thing, you understand this is not something that I'm going to bring into order. This is the thing that I'm going to pay somebody else that has brought it into order to handle. So James came to mind. Trials. We're facing trials. They build you. They make you better. They give you the ability to stand under. The other thing that came to mind was Job. Job, you know the story, handled himself in chaos. He had what he thought was in order. His family, his riches, his farm, all that he owned was in order. And all of a sudden it wasn't. And so Job is where we're going to look this morning. Job is where we're going to sit for a little bit. I love this book, partially because Job was one of those that I thought I knew until I read it. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't how this worked in my head. So in Job, quick recap of the story. Most of us know the beginning and some of the end of Job. In the book of Job, Job is talked about as he was a rich man and he loved God. And he had all the cattle, he had a large family, he was rich, he had everything. And then so Satan and God have this conversation and everything Job has is taken. So Job is set trying to figure out what to do. Job at no point ever curses God, ever anything like that. But Job has a little bit of a time understanding. And so Job says, I don't understand. And Job's three friends, his friends are great, come to him and say, Job, you must have done something wrong. He says, no, I don't think I did. No, Job, you did something wrong. You had to have done something wrong. And so the book of Job goes back and forth. Job, you did something wrong. I've not done anything. And Job gets to the point that he says, I wish that I could stand trial before God. I've done nothing wrong. I don't deserve it. That is a bold claim. You don't have to judge that trial for me, right? I wish I could stand trial and weigh this justice because it doesn't. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. His friends are going, no, Job, you just got to tell us what you did. You did something. And so another man comes along, named Elihu, and he reminds Job. Somehow I ended up in Technology. He reminds Job, dominion and awe belong to God. He establishes order in the heights of heaven. Can his forces be numbered? On whom does his light outrise? How then can mortal be righteous before God? Job, you understand who created the order that you thought you were in, right? Job, you understand how you got there in the first place, right? Job, you understand who exactly it is that you're talking about that you think has done you wrong. Job, don't think you do. So Job continues, no, I have done nothing wrong. I wish to be tried for what is happening to me. And then one of my favorite parts of all of Scripture, God answers him. And God doesn't answer him, hey Job, what's going on, buddy? No, God has a pretty strong answer. answer for Job. And so in Job chapter 38, you want to read it with me this morning? God answers Job. He says this: Then the Lord answered Job from the whirlwind, "Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? Brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Where were you, or tell me if you know so much. Who determined its dimensions?" Job, did you do that? "Who stretched out the surveying line? What supports its foundations, and who laid its cornerstone? As the morning stars sang together, and all the angels shouted for joy. Who kept the sea inside its boundaries, as it burst from the womb? As I clothed it with clouds and wrapped it in thick darkness. For I locked it behind barred gates, limiting its shores. I said, this far, and no farther will you come. Here your proud waves must stop. Have you ever commanded the morning to appear, and caused the dawn to rise in the east? Have you made daylight spread to the ends of the earth, to bring an end to the night's wickedness? As the light approaches, the earth takes shape like clay pressed beneath the seal. It is robed in brilliant colors. The light disturbs the wicked and stops the arm that is raised in violence. Have you explored the springs from which the seas come? Have you explored their depths? Do you know where the gates of death are located? Have you seen the gates of utter gloom? Do you realize the extent of the earth? Tell me about it if you know. Where does light come from? And where does darkness go? Can you take each to its home? Do you know how to get there? But of course you know all this. For you were born before it all created, and you are so very experienced. I know it. I'm Job, and I'm going to get to Job's response to this here in a little bit. But I feel about this thing. Where were you when the foundations of the earth were created? In my mama's womb where you were knit? That doesn't help me. So Job has this problem. Job says, I don't understand why I got here. I don't understand what I did. I don't think this is fair. I have a problem with this. His friends aren't helping. This random guy that wanders by tries to help him, but gives him, I love the way it puts it in my Bible. They give him, he gives him the best answer that a human could. Because even a human doesn't have a full understanding of the problem. The best answer. Job, don't you know who it is you're talking about? And as Job continues, God tells him who it is that Job's talking about. And it actually goes on for quite a while. I'm a few verses in and I'm already tiny. This continues for like 3 chapters. So, Job, what do you think you know, huh? You think you know all this stuff? Where were you? Since you're so experienced, Job. And so Job sits through this. And Job responds. Shortly. I feel like he's trying to kind of like interject in to get God to stop, but it doesn't really work. When Job replied to the Lord, I am nothing. How could I ever find answers? I will cover my mouth with my hand. I have said too much already. I have nothing more to say. And God continues. Brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you and you must answer them. Will you discredit my justice and condemn me just to prove you are right? Are you as strong as God? Can you thunder with a voice like his? All right, put your glory and splendor and your honor and majesty. Give vent to your anger. Let it overflow against the proud. Humiliate the proud with a glance. Walk on the wicked where they stand. Bury them in the dust. Imprison them in the world of the dead. Then even I will praise you for your own strength's sake. God continues. Again, Job just takes it. What else can you do? So Job finally responds. This is the end. Then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do anything, and no one can stop you. You asked, who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorance? It is I. And I was talking about things I knew nothing about. Things far too wonderful for me. You said, listen, and I will speak. I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. I have only heard about you before, but now I have seen you with my own eyes. I take everything back that I said. And I sit in dust and ashes to show my repentance. So what does God do? Does God take this man that once understood everything and has a, albeit very large, but a lapse of judgment, and God restores him better than he was before. God takes the things that he had that was in order and makes them even greater on the other side of things. Because what we do when our order becomes chaos is we trust in the creator of the order. As Elihu had said, it is God that commands the order in the high heavens. And so this idea of order and chaos, we remain in the order, and we remain in the order that is God. Where we see consistently throughout the Bible this call to go out into the chaos. Go forth and make disciples. Go forth happens to be in the chaos. But what? I will be with you always. The order will come with you. So remain in the order, but take that challenge to go into the chaos. To approach the unknown. To take the things that you don't have understanding, that you're afraid of, that you're worried about, especially youth as you're leaving high school and figuring out this world. Go out into that unknown. Because many of the things that I find are very well in order for me, that I found that I'm particularly good at, that I found that I connect with, are things that I had to find out in chaos. Are things that I had to approach and connect with to even know that they fit me. So remain in the order. May always be in a place where God just has you surrounded. But may you take that into the unknown. May you take that into the chaos. And when things seem like they're crashing around you, when your marriage is falling apart, when your job is falling apart, when you don't know what the next steps are, when your kids are misbehaving, I'm sorry, that makes sense. I can think of it. When you don't understand what's going on, Sean's doesn't mind when they're out. When you don't understand what's going on, then trust in the one that is in command of all order. You don't want God to have to respond to you the way that He responded to you. Who are you? Do not trust me. I love that we sang the song this morning, I would trust in you. And as I'm listening to it, I'm reminded of this story that also kind of connects with children. Of a man that got flowers for his wife, got roses for his wife every week. And she loved it, just as little baby. You got many roses. He got flowers for his wife every week, and she loved it. And after a few weeks, he hadn't gotten her any flowers. So she begins to wonder, does he still love me? Is there someone else? What is happening? What's happening? So after about a month goes by, and she's just distraught. She comes home to find 2 giant rose bushes planted for her. He says, honey, I'm sorry I didn't get you flowers the last few weeks. I knew that you wanted to have something that stayed. We couldn't afford it, so I saved up the money that I spent getting flowers and got you these 2 rose bushes. All the thinking, what is going on, nothing. She didn't trust the one that had, for weeks on end, proven that he was worthy of that trust. And so the next time you think, like Job, God, what is going on? Why are you doing this to me? I want you to think of all the things that God has done. All the times that God has proven himself. All the times that God has shown to be exactly who he claims to be. Because maybe there's some rose bushes right around the corner. Maybe he's preparing you for the next thing that you don't see coming. Maybe the little bit of chaos that you're experiencing now is to prepare you for the large amount of chaos that he's building you up to withstand through. The idea in James is the ability to hold up under weight, under pressure. That's what trials, what chaos is. And so maybe this little bit of weight is like weightlifting, to be able to lift that big weight that's coming that you don't even expect. Job found, as we find, that God is true to who he is. That God loves us and cares for us. And that despite what your friends say, sometimes, God is there for you. God sees what's going on. God is with you. God is the order that follows you. I want to ask our youth to come up here real quick. Come on. You guys count, come on. We all pick up one side over here. I need you to brace yourself because I have some questions for you and you must answer them.
Oh boy.
All right, so I want we're going to go through all 5 of you. We're going to start with one part. There's 2 parts of this. What is something that you feel like you have in order?
What?
Something that you feel like you have in order. Time management.
Money at the moment.
Money, that's good.
I still.
What is something you feel like you have in order? You feel like you have it under control. No matter how small, I understand your views.
Got your shopping done before moving to college.
You tried.
I tried.
We'll come back to that. Larry? You said something I had in order? No, yeah. You feel like you have it under control.
Your room is fairly under control.
Hey.
The parents are really trying over here. I gotta give you credit.
I want to say family, but I mean, all of that counts.
Yes, that
Of
counts.
course it counts.
That counts.
Yes.
John?
Here's my car. I'll check out order on the line.
Okay. All right. Jackie?
Couple of them.
No matter how small, something you think you feel like you have in order.
Like, is your closet in order? Anything. Anything. Yeah.
Just ask a teenage girl.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking. Can't even get in my daughter's room, so
We're not to the chaos question.
we'll have plenty of answers for that one, John.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I have leaving under control. I got my roommate on good terms with her. Meeting other people, I reckon.
I reckon. All right, so back around. What is the chaos you're excited to pursue? Something unknown. Something unknown.
Hang on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. Life's chaotic enough. Just keep on going with that.
What is something unknown you're excited to pursue? Something you're excited about.
If it's unknown, how do I know to pursue it?
It's unknown to you. It's not comfortable. Obstacle. We'll come back.
Oh, I got pretty good right now.
Wait, can I change my order?
No.
Please? I want to say my bed. That's the only thing in my life I have an order. Like, have you seen it?
Lane, what is the chaos you're excited to pursue?
Career.
Okay. Jackie?
Well, kind of want to stay away from Laverne, so.
I'm excited to pursue anything with Laverne.
She didn't let me finish. Randomly coming up with the money to stay in Maryville so I can, stay away from Laverne.
Okay. Larry?
You're the longest thing for me.
It's not that, but it's just,
Getting closer to pursue my career.
Okay.
I'm letting that go.
Are you going to answer both questions?
What's the question?
What is something you feel like you have in order right now? Under control.
This lesson, John said.
So your mom didn't offer a closet for you, I see.
I can't even get in her door. How do I know what her closet looks like?
And my parents Mom's looking at me, she
I'm wondering if she's been to our house trying to get in your door.
thanks to me, you can actually somewhat fit.
Her bed in order.
That's right, the bed's in order.
Relationships?
That's 3.
Relationships, okay. And what is the chaos you're excited to pursue?
What does that mean?
Something unknown you're excited to go find out about.
Like a career path.
Theater here in school, drama queen. I don't get the question, I guess.
So something that you're not comfortable with that you're excited to learn more about, get more comfortable.
See, I know about theater, so that's not a good answer.
Theater's fun.
I want to learn more about the gremlins that are coming to Freshman, sorry, AKA freshman.
Okay.
This year we had a stabbing, we had a trash can lit on fire. I'm excited to see how ridiculous we are.
Wylie?
They get worse and worse every year. Thank God.
Already answered it, man.
No, you did it.
I know.
Check
It's
it out.
unknown, I don't know.
What is something you're not comfortable with? You're excited about finding out.
This question and what it means.
This question. Okay, fair enough. All right, you guys are good. Thank you guys. So I want to end with a little bit of youth pastor information. One of the things that I think has partially helped me connect so much with this idea of trials build you up and the chaos and the order thing and how approaching life looks is because I deal with people that are approaching life from a new direction every day. I think a lot of times, the easy answer is, well, sometimes we forget what it was like to learn all that. I don't think we do. I remember pretty clearly what it was like going into this unknown. But just the idea of, any one of us in here that's over the age of 21 will say, do I have to go higher than that for any of you kids? I'm listening to
What about
22, right? Or 22? Okay. This is like a terrible argument. I'll go 30. There's no one here in the 30 besides them, right? Yeah? All right, good. If you're over the age of 30, your ball, your circle of what you have in order far exceeds what they have. Your experience is more, the stuff you've tested is more, the unknown that you've been through is more. And not for lack of, really not for lack of trying for some of them. Some of them practically live in the chaos. But we've had time to kind of start putting this thing together, to build a base to stand off of. When the order that you come from is this big instead of this big, it's a lot harder to balance, right? I've already alluded earlier to some of the kids, and there isn't anybody in our church like this, but some of the kids that face hardly anything but chaos at school, and then come home to a place where it's not really much better. Like, my heart hurts for them. The order they have to stand on is so little sometimes, and that's what we're dealing with in this current day and age that we're at. I would hazard to say most of you probably know some kids like that. Most of you know some people that are attempting to start their life in this world on their own and are having a hard time with it. And I love you guys. I get that. So it's building that out, getting the people around you to help. Sometimes you can approach the chaos with someone who's already been in that particular bit of chaos. Sometimes you can approach the things with someone that's already been there before you. And some of these kids aren't going to have that from the parents in their life that should be on. And so I would just pray that your heart feels for them in the way that I do. That when you come across people that a lot of times are going to act like jerks, and a lot of times they're going to act like selfish idiots, that sometimes they just don't have a place of order to operate from. And when you're surrounded by nothing but chaos, it is very difficult to even attempt to rest in the things of order that allow you to take that step back and rest. That allow you to take that step to process what's going on, and instead you're just bombarded constantly with everything that's going on. It's a very difficult way to live. And so pray for these youth, pray for these people that are coming into this and trying to build up that foundation. That they see God for that foundation. That they seek the help of parents and adults around them for that foundation. That they move from that foundation into things that are unknown. That they expand it. Because it doesn't expand on your own. It doesn't. You can't just sit at home all day and expect your circumference of order to expand. It doesn't work like that.
Watch YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Watch all those 72 tithing YouTube videos. I still don't know nothing about tithing. Let's get our youth back up here one more time and pray for you guys. You don't have to get all the way up here. You don't have to get all the way up here.
We're about as young as we used to be.
You are rubble bins. You guys can take some seats on stage. You're fine. I'm not going to ask you no questions. Don't worry.
I want to make you feel better, so I'll stand up.
Okay.
I'm 18. I got that.
Oh, my back.
I I am excited for you guys. I'm encouraged by you guys. I'm excited to see what you guys do as you go out and as you create this life as your own. As you've heard me say everything already, it's a matter of finding the things that you're comfortable with and allowing yourself to rest in those. Allowing yourself to rest in the order that God provides you. But going out and finding the things that you don't know about. I promise you, the most worthwhile things you will ever find are the places you're not looking. Right? That's right, Jessica. All the places I wasn't looking. The small town in North Georgia wasn't looking there.
You find the best things where you're not looking.
Yes. And the best thing is going out and the things you're not comfortable with.
What's I looking for?
See, the trick is to not look in there. It's where you're not looking.
Oh, I try.
All right, let's pray. Father, we thank you for this time you've given us this morning. We thank you for this youth and this church that are going out to do wonderful things. Father, we just pray for them and the struggles that they're facing and the things, the unknown that they are beginning to experience. So, Father, we pray that you just guide them, that they lean on you in the order that you have for them, that they lean on you in the paths and the chaos that you've provided for them, that they look to you for all things in becoming who you have for them to be. And Father, we're excited to see how you use them for your kingdom. We're excited to see how they grow